Good morning, everyone. Hopefully, Monday's class, period 1 and 2, that was yesterday, period 5 and 6, that was 2 days ago. Hopefully, everything worked out and you got the video and you got the note taking sheet and you're understanding your lessons. All right, so this is the last lesson of the year. After this, it's just review. So today we're going to look at adaptations. We're going to see how are the types of support alike and how are they different, and what is the need for adaptation. So we're looking at the type of support your body has: hydrostatic skeletons, coelom, adaptations, mimicry, carnivore, herbivore, omnivore, detritivore, endoskeleton, and exoskeleton. So your note-taking sheet today has the vocab words not there. It just has the first letters. So I'm just giving you a little hint, but you still got to fill in all those words. So make sure from this slide you can pause it and fill in those vocab words. Okay, so again, we're focusing on body structures and adaptations. And again, this is your final lesson in 6th grade science. After this, when we get back from Mo, it's just review, review, review. All right, so here we go. Let's try again. All right. So let's look at this picture here. The question here is, how does an animal obtain energy? So obviously, if you look at all these pictures, all these animals are doing something. What are they doing? 3, 2, 1. They're eating. So we have 3 animals here eating. And the question here is, which diet do you think gives you the most energy? So this guy here is eating meat. He's a carnivore. In this situation here, this is an omnivore. They're eating veggies at this point, but they do also eat meat. This guy here, he's that detritivore guy. So he's eating decomposing matter. So if we look at these 3 animals, we're going to get the most energy from being a carnivore. Carnivore has a lot of energy in it. But most animals are not full carnivores. We're not full carnivores. You need a nice balanced diet like this group. All right. So we're going to look at first physical adaptations. This means adaptations that are on your body, your physical features that enable you to avoid predators, something about how you are built. And typically it's an outer covering. So these guys, these roly-poly guys, so you have them when they're out and about, but then they also roll right there and they become a roly-poly. This is their protection. You have our porcupine over here. This porcupine, no one wants to bite this. No one wants all these quills inside of them. And this last guy over here, this tortoise, what does he do? He goes right into that shell, and he's a hard guy to eat once he's in there. So what do these adaptations do for each of these animals? So no matter if it's a physical adaptation, a behavioral adaptation, no matter what type of adaptation it is to help them survive. So adaptations are just to help you survive. It might help you survive getting attacked. It also might help you survive by getting to eat something. But adaptations are always for survival. If they don't make you a better animal to survive, they're not an adaptation. They're pointless. All right, so these are some physical adaptations. So think about other physical adaptations you might have. It might be size, it might be teeth, it might be claws. Anything about your body is a physical adaptation. The hair on your arms and legs, that's a physical adaptation. That keeps you warm, the hair on the top of your head. These are all physical adaptations. All right, so now we're looking at another physical adaptation, and this one's called mimicry. And so if I'm looking here, I have 2 snakes. I have the eastern coral snake. This guy's venomous. And then I have a scarlet king snake, totally safe. You can play with this thing all day long. This guy here, we have the viscerae, and I'm moving this a little here. And yeah, the monarch butterfly. So this guy, you don't want to eat him. This guy, you can eat him whatever you want. It's going to probably taste nasty, but you can eat him. So why do you think this scarlet king snake wants to look like this eastern coral snake? And why do you think this viceroy wants to look like this monarch butterfly? What's the purpose of this? So think about it for a second of why I would want to look like an entirely other animal. Again, it's an adaptation. So it's got to be survival. So if I look anything like this venomous guy, most animals are just going to say, you know what? I'm not sure. I'm just going to avoid it. So it's just a safety method. They have nothing else that can hurt a predator. So the only thing going for them is that the predators think twice and just say, it's not worth the risk. Okay. All right. Then we have predator adaptations, and they can be physical, they can be behavioral. So if I look here at this predator adaptation, it's anything that helps me be a success when I'm hunting or a success in getting away. So that a predator adaptation either makes me a better predator or a worse prey. They're both predator adaptations. So this guy right here, it's not mimicry. He's not looking like the Leafs. He's just blending in. Same with this one. He doesn't look like the rocks. He doesn't look like the sand. He's blending in. So both of these guys, it's camouflage. So this guy might be blending in so he can strike. This guy might be blending in so you don't attack him. So predator adaptations, again, it just either makes you better at hunting or it makes you better at hiding. Either way, it's a predatorial adaptation. Right, so then we have behavioral adaptations. So here we have 5 different situations. So the question is, what are their adaptations? So if we look here, we have an octopus or a squid, and what's it doing? It's inking. So this is actually, it either confuses the predator or it stains them, but either way, it makes the predator run. So they don't want to be involved in this. So it's a behavior. It does this. We have our skunk here. It sprays you. That's their adaptation to get away. It does this. These elephants are in a pack. They are in a herd. They are working together. They are protecting their young. Again, traveling in a group. Over here, we have our wolves. They're in a pack. They hunt together. This makes them better predators. And down here, we have our cheetah. This is a behavioral adaptation, is its speed, how it runs. Again, it makes it a better hunter. So these are all adaptations that they do. This is an action they do. And it makes them better at either hunting or not getting killed. All right, so we're going to look at this video right now, 25 animals with insane survival adaptations. Oh, let's go back. Here we go.
Number 25, shooting blood. When the Texas horned lizard feels threatened, it literally shoots blood out of its eyeballs. Number 24, dirty mouths. The mouth of a wild Komodo dragon is so filthy that many times it will bite its prey and then follow it around until it dies from the resulting infection. In fact, scientists aren't entirely sure how wild dragons survive with so much bacteria on their tongues. Number 23, shockwaves. The pistol shrimp can snap its claws so quickly that it creates a pressure wave in the surrounding water. The resulting bang is louder than a jet engine and hotter than the surface of the sun. Number 22, breaking bones. The hairy frog, a Central American species, cracks its own toe bones and shoves them through its feet to create sharp claws whenever it feels threatened. Number 21, rib spikes. The hairy frog isn't the only creature that uses its own bones as weapons. The Spanish-ribbed newt shoves its ribs through its chest to ward off predators. Fortunately for them, the newts are known for quick-healing skin. Number 20, self-destruction. A certain species of French Guinea termite accumulates toxins in a gland on its back over the course of its life. Eventually, should the colony come under attack, the older termites that are stuffed with toxins will blow themselves up near the attackers. Number 19, slime attack. Hagfish are eel-shaped marine animals that release a gooey, slimy substance whenever they come under attack. Many times, the substance gets into the gills of the predator and chokes them to death. Number 18, throwing your organs. Sea cucumbers don't do much besides sit on the ocean floor, but should you try to eat one, you might get a mouthful of its organs. Apparently, their insides are toxic and foul-tasting, so whenever they're attacked, they simply expel them onto the predator. Number 17, playing dead. Everyone knows opossums play dead, but did you know that the act is completely involuntary and only brought on by intense fear? While unconscious, they also release a foul-smelling odor that adds to the effect. Number 16, walking on water. Sure, there are bugs that walk on water, but those things are small. The basilisk lizard, however, is as big as a small dog, and it can run along the surface of the water for up to 20 meters before sinking. Number 15, sweating blood. Okay, so it's not really blood, but that's what it's called, blood sweat. The bright red substance protects hippos from the sun and infections. Number 14, urinating blood. So far we've seen spitting blood, sweating blood, and now urinating blood. Ladybugs do this when they're scared, and supposedly it keeps predators away. Number 13, immortality. Found in warm Mediterranean waters, there's a jellyfish that can indefinitely revert itself back to polyp form. As cool as turning back time sounds, most often they die from predation or disease. Number 12. Making balloons. In order to attract a mate, the hooded seal will close one nostril and inflate a pink nasal membrane out of the other. Number 11. Carnivorous herbivores. It sounds like something out of a zombie movie, but it's true. If certain animals like cows don't get enough minerals from the grass, they'll get them from somewhere else, many times from small prey like birds. Number 10. Eating food through skin. Rather than having a mouth, the zombie worm lays up against its meal and secretes acid to turn it into mush. It then absorbs the food through its skin. Number 9. Eye knives. Clown loaches are a popular addition to any aquarium, but they should not be underestimated. Below their eyes, they have retractable spines that they can shoot out to stab predators. Number 8. Tail fat. The Karakul, a type of domestic sheep in Central Asia, store extra fat in their tails so that they can survive harsh conditions. Number 7. Air bubbles. The diving bell spider is the only spider that can effectively live underwater. It creates a bubble-like web that traps oxygen, and researchers say they only need to come up once a day. Number 6. Mimicry. There's perhaps no better copycat on Earth than the mimic octopus. Discovered off the coast of Indonesia, the species can take on characteristics of up to 15 different forms of marine life. Number 5. Skin breathing. The lungless frog of Borneo does just that. It breathes through the surface of its skin. Number 4. Looking like bird droppings. There's actually one more case of mimicry in nature that is quite interesting. The caterpillar of the giant swallowtail butterfly matures to look like bird poop. Number 3. Interior design. The bowerbird is something of a kleptomaniac interior designer with OCD. It will build a meticulous nest using flowers, feathers, and even bits of discarded plastic to attract a mate. Moreover, it will be more than happy to steal from its neighbor's nest. Number 2. Removable tails. Many species of geckos have tails that grow to resemble their heads. When the predator goes for the tail, it will just fall off and twitch on the ground while the gecko makes his escape. And number 1. Projectile vomit. If you ever scare a northern fulmar, you know what to expect.
All right, guys. So that was some pretty cool stuff. Most of it actually was pretty nasty. All right, so let's move on here. All right, this is something that should really be reviewed for you. You should have learned this when you were younger. So, animal diets. If I'm an herbivore, I like herbs. So, there's my clue right there. And I only eat plants and plant parts. So, why do you think they have to eat so often? Why are these guys always nibbling over and over and they don't just like a snake, it has that rat inside them for a while and it doesn't need to eat again. But herbivores, they're always munching and munching and munching. So take a guess for a second. We thought about this on the first slide over there when we were looking at animal diets. So think about it. All right. It's because their diet gives us the least energy because they don't get any real protein inside their food. This is why sometimes also if you are vegetarian, which a bunch of you are, if you're not getting a balanced diet, if you're not getting that protein somewhere else, you're going to be a little bit weaker. You're going to be a bit tired. So herbivores have to continually eat. Then we have carnivores, and these guys eat only other animals. And they either hunt them and eat them fresh, or they're scavengers, and they come in afterwards once it's dead, and they pick at what's already there. Omnivores, like us, we eat both plants and animals. And then the new one, maybe for you, is detritivores. These guys only eat decaying matter. So this would pretty much be worms. They love to eat dead stuff. So those are our diets here. And you see, they all have the vor right there. So those are our diets. There really shouldn't be much new in that slide. All right, so now we're moving into something a little bit harder. We're going to look at the structures for support. How does an animal actually have a body? How does it not just mush and just pass out? So we have hydrostatic skeleton, and we should see our clue here, hydro. Hydro. So you have hydrosphere, you have hydros. So you should see this obviously has to do with water. And we're talking about a skeleton here that has some kind of liquid in it. So it's not what we're typically used to. This is kind of rare. So the hydrostatic skeleton, many organisms use internal fluids to provide support. We have earthworms, we have jellies, and sea anemones. So there's fluids inside of their body that actually provides the support. There's no bones going on inside. There's no bones outside. They're all mush pretty much, and it's this liquid inside of them. So again, no bones in this situation, but they're not invertebrates the same way, really, because it's not really that they have this outside protection. Everything about them is kind of smushy. And I know that's not a real word. All right, so our hydrostatic skeleton, it's a fluid filled internal cavity surrounded by muscle tissue. This fluid filled internal cavity is called the coelom. So if I go back here for a second, so we don't jump too far ahead. So again, it's a fluid-filled cavity, and that cavity gives us like the pressure. It moves forward, moves back. So this is what helps it move, this coelom part. So if I look here, if I'm looking at how a worm moves, and you've seen this, you know how earthworms move. So they push forward that part, and then the back kind of catches up. Then they push forward and then it catches up. So this is how they move. They also, earthworms, we didn't really go into this, but they have these little hairs on the outside of their body, and these are called setae. And you can see them right here. They're really fine, tiny little hairs, but that helps them grip. So they kind of grip at the front, and then the back of their body catches up. And then they push forward again, and then the back of their body catches up. So they have a liquid in them that helps them move. The next one, exoskeleton. This shouldn't be new to you. Exoskeleton, exo, exit, outside. Right? So this group, the organisms use structures on the outside of their body. The exoskeleton provides support and protection for these invertebrates. Sometimes it grows with the animal. Sometimes the animals need to shed it and get a new exoskeleton. So again, if I have like a turtle or a tortoise, that shell grows with them. But if I have a snake or if I have let's see, I'm blanking on my other animals. If I have an insect and I'm going through my nymph stages, I shed that outside covering. So when they're shedding, when they're losing their exoskeleton, why is this such a dangerous point in their life? So they're getting rid of their exoskeleton. They're in this moment where they need to get their skeleton back. It doesn't just happen instantaneously. So in that moment, it's a very scary time for them. They have no protection whatsoever. All it is this soft body, and it's much easier for them to attack and kill them at that point. So they have to usually kind of go into hiding or something because at this point, they're just open for predators. So here's showing some exoskeletons. So this is, we've all seen lobsters and crawfish. This is an exoskeleton. The actual animal is inside this skeleton. If we look here at a cicada, this is not the cicada. This is the exoskeleton. So, and then this is our cicada. So once it's the season for cicadas, you'll see a lot of these all over the place. And you think it's the insect, but it's not. That's just the carcass. That's the outside. That's the exoskeleton. There's nothing living in there. But if you look at this right here, this is when it just came out of its exoskeleton. You can see it looks paler. And this again is when it's just open for attack. This is a very scary time for these cicadas. But keep an eye out. It's coming up pretty soon where you're going to see these guys and look for these exoskeletons. They're just discarded exoskeletons. So I'm going to show you quickly what that looks like. So it's pretty cool, this quick little, it's only 37 seconds and we're going to see. So this is it. It's coming out. So this outside, this is the exoskeleton. But look at it. It looks so much different because it doesn't have protection. So the color is different. So this is it. This is a cicada coming out of its exoskeleton. And it has to do this because it's growing. So snakes do this also. So it's kind of stretching out. It finally has room and it's like, thank gosh, I can just take my wings out. And this here, this is the just discarded exoskeleton. But again, you can see, look at that. You can see inside there. This is definitely a very vulnerable point in its life. All right, pretty cool. I really like that video. All right. So then we have endoskeletons. That's you guys. That's us. That's most animals that you know and love. Endo, inside. We've talked about this endothermic. We know this word here. So endo, some organisms have internal structures for support and protection of their internal organs. So we got fish, we got birds, we got mammals, we got reptiles, amphibians. All these guys have internal organs. If you look to in our classroom, we got lots of endoskeletons there for you to play around with. So endoskeletons are usually made up of bone, sometimes cartilage. So can you think of an animal that has both, by the way, of an exoskeleton and endoskeleton? Something that has bones inside the body, but also this protection on the outside. So I'm going to give you a hint. Reptiles. Think of a reptile that has protection on the outside, but also has bones on the inside. 3, 2, turtles. So they have skeletons, but they also have that exoskeleton. So up here, we also have sharks. They don't have bones, they're cartilage. They're called jawed cartilaginous fish because they are made up of cartilage. And then, as I said, turtles and tortoises. These guys have a little bit of both. All right, and I believe that there's a picture of it. Excuse me. This is our endoskeleton, and that closes up our lesson. Okay, guys? So at this point, you want to go through that handout. You want to make sure all the notes are in there. You want to fill out anything on the left-hand side. You now have today, the rest of class, to make sure all your sheets are completed. You want to put those sheets away. You want to not lose them. Remember, 25 points per sheet. This is 100 points that I'm going to give you as a test grade if you have all 4 of those sheets completed. For the group that didn't get to write it in the notes and wrote it on paper, you might want to go back and you might want to fix it up. For the 5th period group that didn't get to watch my video, you might want to go back. It's up to you. When you're done, you're working on that folder. You're doing a study folder. We don't have a test, but this information will be on the final. So I suggest you work well on that folder, and that will be a daily grade. So when we come back from Mo, I'm expecting 4 sheets completed from you, and I'm expecting, doesn't have to be done, but close to done, that study folder. But you should have enough time because you have all class. Your next class is just working on that study folder. So once again, email me if you have any questions. I didn't get any emails on Monday. Hopefully that was a good thing and not that you were just all goofing around on your computers. So I will see you. It's my last lesson with you guys right now, and I will see you Monday morning, 5:45 a.m. On our way to Mo. Okay? See you guys later.